Hey guys, it's Shadow the Rat, and for today's video, I will be doing another of my training series with the baby rats. So these little babies are just under 6 weeks right now, and they are having their second training session. And today I am going to be training a few more things. Last time I worked on spin, paw, and backup, and I still need to work a little bit more on backup, but I also want to work on jump to hand and come when called. Oh, I'm sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. On top of that, I also have a few other things I want to work on, like targeting or clicker training or jumping over different obstacles for agility, but we're not quite ready for that. I won't be working on that in this session, probably the next one, so I just thought I'd go ahead and, show you guys what we're working on now. So the thing we're going to be focusing on today is come when called. And I use a kissy noise for my come when called noise, and you can see they're already very excited. So to start training come, you just want them to be nearby, and then you want to make your come noise and then give them a treat. So you just repeat this over and over again. You want them to start associating the noise with getting a treat. Okay, so my come noise, like I said, is a smooching noise. So I go, I give her a treat. Beansy, yes, you get a treat too. There we go. Good job. So first it's all about giving them a treat when you make the noise. So you just want them to start seeing the noise as a precursor to a treat coming. At first it's all about, like I said, repeating this noise while they're right next to you and then giving them a treat. And then as they start to get the idea, you can do it when they're a little bit further away from you. So let's say they're over here and they come back and I give them a treat. And then I went and wait a few seconds, give her a treat, and if they don't come back, you can just lead them back after you make the noise. There you go. Oh my gosh, you guys are so cute. Yes, you are. The reason I use a noise instead of their name or the word come is because rats will learn noises faster than they do words. And this is because they really learn tone much faster than they do any sort of word. And usually when you use words, you're going to be using different tones with them because, well, that's just part of our language. We naturally tend to use different tones to mean different things. And so for you to use the same tone with the same thing, your best option is to use some sort of noise that you just won't be saying normally. So I use a smooching noise. Some people say that all the time, so you can use a clicking noise. You could use come, the word come, if you would like to, but it might take a little bit longer for them to recognize it and come when called to that noise. And also you have to be sure not to use it in regular conversation. This is why I don't really use their names, because if you use the word you want them to come to all the time, then what you're doing is you're desensitizing them to it, because if you're not rewarding them each time or you're not going through with some other action they have to do each time, then their name basically becomes meaningless. If their name is overused and it doesn't have any sort of consequence to being used, then you're going to see them stop responding to it. Now there is another thing you can do for come, and that is to have a treat jar that makes noise when the treats are in it. So what this does is each time you give treats, it's going to make a noise before you give treats, and they're quickly going to make the association between that noise and getting a treat. So these girls have actually already made the association between this sound and getting some treats. So they've come to me several times when I shake this. You can't see, she's on my lap right now. But anyways, they associate this noise here with getting treats. I'm not sure where the other girl is. Where'd you go? Oh, here she is. So yeah, both of them came right over when I made that noise. You can't really see it because the camera is set up in one angle, but I can promise you they did come over to my lap, and that's just because they have heard this every single time before I gave them this treat, which is a Gerber puff, and it's become a precursor to getting a treat when they're next to me. So yeah, they always come to this now, and I like that because this is kind of a backup. If your come cue doesn't work, then this is something that's been reinforced over and over and over again. So pretty much anytime I lose a rat, I just shake their treat jar and they just pop their little nose out of wherever they are, because this is such a conditioned response. Anyways, I do like also having a more, I guess, trained cue, you could say. So something like a come cue that I actually train on purpose. So that is my kissing noise, and I go, I give them a little treat. Good job. And I do like to train this one with multiple rats, because then you start seeing them copy each other. If one runs over, the others will too, so they'll learn it a lot faster, at least in my experience, if you have multiple rats out when you train it. Oh, and by the way, if you wanted to teach them to, let's say, go to the cage when you made this noise, all you would have to do is make the noise, lead them to the cage, give them the treat, and repeat, and eventually they will start going directly to the cage when you make the noise in order to get rewarded. So there are definitely ways of using this cue in different ways, and I know some people who do use it as a go to your cage cue instead of just a come to me cue. There you are. So now the next step, of course, is to use it when they're more distracted. But that won't be for a little bit now. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I pinched her by accident when she was getting a treat because I didn't want her to have the whole thing. Good job. Whoops. And of course, it's a little bit less effective because I'm actually talking on top of the cue. So they're not just hearing the cue and getting treats, they're hearing me say the cue and then they're hearing me blabber on about it. So I will be also working on this cue with them off camera because, well, I want it to be reliable and it's really hard to work on it when I'm talking. So the other thing I wanted to work on here was jump to hand. And to teach jump to hand, you just start with your hand flat on the ground, lead your route onto it, give them a treat, let them hop off your hand, lead your route back onto your hand, and give them a treat. Lead your route off. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my babies. I'm losing my babies again. No. Lead them onto your hand, and you just want to raise it a little bit then. Also, I want you to notice that they're already a little bit more focused. If you saw my first training video, you'll see they were very unfocused there. And while they're not completely focused yet, you can see that they're paying more attention now, and that is something that you will see continue to increase. So I just want to point this out now because a lot of times people tell me, oh, my rats are very unfocused for training. And the thing is, yeah, they're always going to be unfocused when you start. It doesn't matter what age you start at, they're always going to be very unfocused because that's just kind of how rats are. But as they get experience with training, they will gain focus. And even the most unfocused rat will gain a lot of focus through training. So again, put my hand up, lead her onto it. And my cue for this trick is just offering my hand. When I offer my hand like this, I want them to jump on. It's a great trick for more shy rats because it teaches them to come to you. It's also a great trick for them because it gives you a way to handle them without having to pick them up. So this is the way I get my shy girls out of the cage because it doesn't involve any sort of stress for them. I mean, they get very stressed when you handle them or you pick them up especially. So if I have a way to get them onto my hand first without any sort of scooping motion or picking up motion where I physically have to get them, then it's a lot less stressful on them. Okay, you ready? You can see they're already picking it up really fast. This is one of those tricks that's a lot of fun to teach. Most rats will pick it up really quickly, especially young rats. If you have an older rat or a chunky rat, especially when they get up there, it might be a little hard for them to jump onto your hand. So at that point, you can just put your hand lower to the ground so they walk onto it instead of jumping, and that is just as effective. You can teach it the same way. Ready? And you see at this point, I am not giving the treat lure so much as just putting my hand up and she's jumping over it. That is adorable. Hi, Beansy. There you go. And if they hesitate, you can just lure them onto your hand. There you go. Good job. And eventually this will just become, you put your hand out, they jump right on. An immediate response, which is amazing. And it's also been very effective for me when losing my skittish girls. The few times they've gotten out, having a way to get them to hop onto my hand where I'm not physically going into their space is just so useful in so many scenarios. It's a little bit less useful with these confident girls, but it's still a great trick to build their confidence, build their drive for training because they absolutely love it. So you can see they pretty much learned it. So I think the next thing I'm going to work on, I think I'll work on one more thing, is just going over a jump. Let me get my jump out. See, here's my jump here. And the thing I like to do with this jump is I want them to hop over it. Ready? There you go. Nicely done. Oops, ready? There you go. And for this one, the main goal is to fade out the cue so that they're jumping over it themselves. You can also use target training for this, and I will be doing target training soon. But for now, I'm just going to be luring it. There you go. Ready? Do it together. There you go. Very nice. So you can see one of the nice things about training two rats at once is that you see a little bit more motivation, especially at first. And when I say at first, I mean the first time you train. But at the same time, you also get more distraction, so you have to be careful because at some point the balance will kind of shift and the distraction you get means that the motivation is not worth the distraction levels. So at that point I will switch over to single sessions. Oh, we got a smart little nugget. That's right. Can you go do it? You gonna do it yourself? Oh, very nice. I like that. You know, baby, you want to go around? There you go. You can see they're catching on extremely quickly. You'll notice I'm not using any sort of marker here, just rewarding them freehand. So you can do this. You don't have to use a marker. One of the things I get asked quite a bit is, do I have to use a clicker? And the answer is no, you don't. You can definitely train things without it. I do like using a clicker. I find it's very effective for when you want to communicate more complex tricks and more complex behaviors. But for these simple ones, you really don't have to use one, although I will later on. And you can see little Olive here has really gotten the idea down. She's just coming and doing it herself, which is awesome. I always love seeing when they do this. This is really perfect. For me, when I see this in a rat, it means that I know I'm going to have so much fun training with them, because they're really thinking for themselves and they're really figuring out what I want them to do. And I should mention that this little one is also a smarty. She actually figured out how to go through a tube. It wasn't on camera, but she figured it out herself. So, and now you're stealing a treat. Don't steal a treat, you little butt. No, 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 no. I can see what you're trying to do. We both get to go over it. There you go. Very nice. Anyways, I think this is going to be where I end the training session. We already have so much more focus. And I already lost Little Donut, but that's kind of because, well, like I said, into the training session, this actually went on really long. I said before I want to end them earlier, but oh, it's so hard when you get new little rattos and you're just so excited to train them all the basics. So I do want to stop right now and not push it anymore. So I am very excited with their progress. I think you can see here that they are extremely smart little animals, and this is going to be a lot of fun to do this series. Because I can already see that they're more focused, and I love the fact that I can go back and look at training session 1 and see how much less focused they are, so it's a really nice change. Anyways, I will see you guys later, and I hope you enjoyed this video. As I said before, you can find the first video on the series if you go down to the description and you click on it. I will also have the playlist with all these videos in it. Of course, there are only 2 so far, but there will be more in the future. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!